High in the mountains of Algeria, a secret sleeps. Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad, once a mighty fortress, now lies in ruins. These stones whisper tales of a glorious past. They tell of a time when this fortress was the heart of a powerful empire. The journey to Al Qal'a is not for the faint of heart. Winding roads snake through rugged terrain. The air grows thin as you climb higher, but the reward is worth the effort. The fortress stands on a plateau, offering breathtaking views. From here, the rulers of the Hammadid dynasty surveyed their vast domain. The story of Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad begins in the 11th century. The Hammadid dynasty, a Berber Muslim dynasty, rose to power in North Africa. Hammad ibn Bulugin, a fierce and ambitious leader, founded the dynasty. He sought to establish a new capital, a symbol of Hammadid strength. He chose a remote and easily defensible site in the Hodna Mountains. In 1007 AD, construction began on Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad. The fortress city was not just a military stronghold. It was designed to be a center of culture and learning. Scholars, artists, and poets flocked to the new capital. For a brief but brilliant period, Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad flourished. The Hodna Mountains, with their rugged peaks and hidden valleys, provided a natural fortress. Hammad ibn Bulugin saw in this landscape not just protection, but also opportunity. The mountains offered a refuge from enemies. The Fatimids, from whom the Hammadids had broken away, were a constant threat. Al Qal'a was intended as the heart of a new realm. Hammad envisioned a city that would rival the splendor of Cairo, the Fatimid capital. The location of Al Qal'a was also strategically significant for trade. It lay at the crossroads of important caravan routes that crisscrossed North Africa. Control of these routes meant control of the flow of goods, people, and ideas. The construction of Al Qal'a was a massive undertaking. Thousands of laborers, artisans, and craftsmen were recruited from all over the Hammadid domains. Stone was quarried from the surrounding mountains, and wood was brought in from distant forests. The city walls were thick and imposing, designed to withstand any siege. Within these walls, a new city began to take shape. At the heart of Al Qal'a stood the citadel, the ruler's palace, and the seat of government. Surrounding the citadel were houses, shops, and mosques, creating a vibrant community. Word of Al Qal'a's beauty and sophistication spread throughout the region. Scholars, artists, and poets from far and wide flocked to the new city. They were drawn by the patronage of the Hammadid rulers, who were known for their love of learning and culture. The Hammadid court became a center of intellectual and artistic ferment. Libraries were filled with books on a wide range of subjects, from philosophy and theology to astronomy and medicine. Music and poetry thrived in the palaces and gardens. The city's mosques were not just places of worship. They were also centers of learning, where scholars debated points of Islamic law and theology. Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad became a melting pot of cultures. Picture Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad, not as a ruin, but alive. Imagine its walls, tall and strong, made from the very mountains that cradle it. These were not just barriers, but guardians of a kingdom's heart. Towers, like watchful giants, stood at intervals along these walls. From these heights, guards could see far into the distance. No enemy could hope to take the city by surprise. But these walls held more than just defensive might. They were a testament to the skill of the Hammadid builders. Each stone, carefully cut and fitted, spoke of their craftsmanship. At the city's heart lay its spiritual center, the Great Mosque. Dominating the skyline, it was the largest structure in Al Qal'a. Its minaret, tall and slender, reached towards the heavens, a beacon of faith visible for miles around. Entering the mosque, one would have been greeted by a sense of peace and tranquility. The courtyard, surrounded by cool, shaded colonnades, offered respite from the Algerian sun. Here, the faithful would gather to pray, their voices echoing through the arches. The prayer hall itself was a masterpiece of design. But the mosque was more than just a place of worship. While the mosque stood as a testament to the Hammadids' faith, their palaces whispered tales of a refined and luxurious lifestyle. These were not just rulers, but patrons of art and beauty. Imagine courtyards, cool and inviting, with the sound of water splashing in marble fountains. Gardens, lush and fragrant with exotic plants, offered a sensory escape from the surrounding arid landscape. The palaces were lavishly decorated. Walls adorned with intricate stucco work, shimmering with gold leaf, spoke of the dynasty's wealth. These palaces were also centers of power, where the Hammadid rulers held court. Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad wasn't just a fortress. It pulsed as the heart of the Hammadid dynasty. Within its walls, decisions were made, and the fate of a people rested on the shoulders of their rulers. It was a city of laws, where the Sultan held court and dispensed justice. Imagine the bustling scene. Courtiers, dressed in fine robes, whispering secrets in shadowed corners. Ambassadors from distant lands, bearing gifts and seeking alliances. Scholars presenting their latest discoveries, hoping for the Sultan's patronage. Every word spoken carried weight. Fortunes could be made or broken on a whim. The Hammadids, though fierce warriors, were also patrons of the arts and sciences. Under their rule, Al Qal'a blossomed into a vibrant center of intellectual and artistic expression. It attracted some of the brightest minds and most skilled artisans of the Islamic world. Poets graced the courtyards of the wealthy, their verses celebrating the wisdom of its rulers. Musicians filled the air with melodies, their lutes and flutes weaving enchantments that lingered long after the music ceased. Calligraphers, masters of the written word, transformed simple script into works of art. Libraries, filled with scrolls from far-off lands, became centers of learning. This vibrant mix of cultures created a unique atmosphere in Al Qal'a. Though the stones of Al Qal'a now stand silent, stories of its past echo through time. Legends whispered for generations tell of its splendor and rulers and the lives of its inhabitants. One such tale speaks of a renowned poet, Ibn Zaydun, and his forbidden love for the Sultan's daughter. His verses, filled with longing and despair, captivated the city. They spoke of stolen glances amidst the palace gardens, of secret rendezvous under the watchful eyes of the moon. The Sultan, enraged by this breach of decorum, banished the poet from Al Qal'a. Another story tells of a cunning thief, known as the Desert Fox, who plagued the city's wealthy. Despite the Sultan's best efforts, the Desert Fox was never caught. For almost a century, Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad flourished. It stood as a beacon of Hammadid power and sophistication. But even as the city thrived, seeds of its decline were being sown. Internal strife began to plague the Hammadid dynasty. Rivalries and jealousies festered among the descendants of Hammad ibn Bulugin. The once unified court became a breeding ground for intrigue and suspicion. Adding to the internal turmoil, the nomadic Arab tribes surrounding Al Qal'a grew increasingly restless. Raids on caravans and skirmishes on the outskirts of the city became more frequent. The Hammadid rulers, preoccupied with their internal power struggles, were slow to react. The year 1090 AD marked a turning point in the fate of Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad. A new force, the Banu Hilal, a powerful Arab Bedouin confederation, swept across North Africa. Their arrival would forever alter the political landscape of the region. Known for their equestrian skills and fierce warriors, the Banu Hilal were a nomadic people. Driven by drought and the promise of new pastures, they migrated in vast numbers. The Hammadid dynasty, weakened by internal strife and increasingly isolated, was ill-prepared for this new threat. With their superior numbers and knowledge of the terrain, the Banu Hilal laid siege to Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad. For months, the city held out, but the relentless pressure took its toll. Despite a valiant defense, Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad eventually fell to the Banu Hilal. The city, once a symbol of Hammadid power, was sacked and largely abandoned. Its inhabitants scattered, seeking refuge in other parts of the Hammadid domains. The once bustling streets fell silent, the laughter and music replaced by the whispering wind. The palaces, stripped of their former glory, stood empty, their courtyards overgrown with weeds. The great mosque, its minaret still reaching for the heavens, stood as a lonely sentinel. The city, once a jewel in the crown of the Hammadid dynasty, was left to fade into obscurity. Yet, even in its desolation, Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad whispers its stories. The silence of Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad is profound. Centuries have passed since life pulsed through its streets, yet, even in ruin, the fortress city speaks. Its legacy is one of awe, etched in stone and whispered on the desert wind. It reminds us that power, like the shifting sands, is fleeting. The Hammadids built this magnificent city, only to see it swept away by history. But Al Qal'a also speaks of resilience, of the enduring spirit of creation. Today, Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad is no longer a forgotten city lost to the desert. Recognized for its historical and cultural significance, it stands as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a testament to its enduring value. Archaeologists and historians carefully excavate the site, piecing together the story of Al Qal'a like fragments of a broken mosaic. Each unearthed artifact, each inscription deciphered, brings us closer to understanding the lives and times of those who called this place home. But Al Qal'a is more than just an archaeological site. It's a wellspring of inspiration. It attracts travelers, artists, writers, and dreamers, all drawn to its timeless beauty and the stories it whispers on the wind. They come to wander amongst its ruins, to imagine its past glory, and to connect with the echoes of a lost world. The Algerian government is committed to protecting and restoring Al Qal'a. Ongoing conservation efforts ensure that future generations can marvel at its wonders and learn from its history. Al Qal'a of Beni Hammad, though a relic of a bygone era, holds profound relevance for us today. It serves as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of human history. By studying Al Qal'a, we gain insights into past civilizations and their contributions to Islamic history. Al Qal'a offers valuable lessons for the present and the future. It reminds us of the importance of cultural exchange and understanding. Al Qal'a stands as a beacon, reminding us that even in adversity, the human spirit can create beauty and foster knowledge.